Hey everyone, it's Dina. So I wanted to do another video on tracing, as it still is probably one of the top questions that I see in any of the Facebook groups for Silhouette Studio and the Cameo. And it's confusing at first for people who are new to the software and they don't really understand how it all functions. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what you're tracing, how to trace it, and hopefully this will make more sense and help you along the way and get you acclimated to this tool. So what you see is a couple of images that are on my screen. On the right hand toolbar, I've selected the trace icon. It's a little butterfly, but where it looks like a little piece of toast. You can see that it opens up the trace panel, and I've got my trace tool set here in this panel. But first, what I want to talk about is the quality of what you are tracing, because that really matters for what you're wanting to do. If you take a look at these two pictures here, these are probably not going to get you a good trace. One, they're at an angle. They're not looking straight down on the image or whatever it is that you're looking at in that picture. The top one has some kind of spill or water damage or whatever to it, so that's definitely going to impact your tracing. It's going to try to pick up these lines and will cause a lot of cleanup for you to do. Not only that, but you've got some discoloration on this picture between the cream color and this white color here, so whatever's going on there. So this one is not a good one to trace. You can try it, but you're probably going to spend a lot of time cleaning it up or something of that nature. All right, this one might work, but as I said, it's on an angle, so it might not look the best. You might be able to trace it, but it won't be the best quality or a view of it. It might be slanted, it won't lay straight, just depending on what you're doing. This might also not be the best option for you. These are better. While this one is a little yellowed and it has some stains from use, you're going to be able to get a pretty decent trace on this, but you'll have some cleanup to do because it's probably going to try to grab the discoloration, the lines, and whatnot. And pretty much the same for this one on the bottom here. It's a better picture, it's lighter. The handwriting is a little light, but that's, workable. So keep those things in mind. If you're taking a picture of something, make sure that you're getting a top view only. Good light, clear quality is going to be your best bet here. If you happen to have a scanner, such as a printer that's an all-in-one model that has like a print, copy, scan, fax type setup, that is going to be probably the best option because it will lay flat, it'll get a good scan, you can import that in at a high quality resolution, and you won't have as many problems with it as you will on the left-hand side. Now with that being said, I want to go through the steps of how to trace. So I'm just going to delete these, select them and press delete on my keyboard. And I want to show you the basics of tracing. So once you've activated this toolbar over here on the right side of the screen, you're going to click the button that says Select Trace Area. And then you're going to draw a box around the item or items that you desire to trace. And at the default position of 45%, you can see that it's starting to pick up some of the imagery for those two items. The bottom one, not so much. Now you might be thinking, oh my gosh, this is horrible. This is not a trace. This is just speckles. But that's the beginning. Okay, so you've done step one. Now you need to do step two. You need to up the threshold to try to capture as much of that image as possible without having a lot of feedback in it. So you can see right here it's starting to pick up the lines. The bottom one is a little bit of a cleaner trace where it's picking up mostly the text that's written. So you can continue using this little slider tool for threshold. or use the up and down arrows maybe to do that. Sorry, I've got a little bit of a lag here, but these do work. So this will increase and decrease the threshold. What you want to do ultimately is get as much yellow on this image without having a lot of feedback. Like I said, like see these little pieces here? You're going to have to clean those up. Okay, so for this purpose of this video, we're going to say that this is how we want this trace to look, even though it may not be perfect. Okay, now at the bottom of the screen, you can adjust the scale, and it's going to tighten that trace up just a little bit depending on how you scale that. You cannot go below 4. And then you're going to choose the trace style. And a lot of people get confused about what this means. So trace and detach is going to detach what you have highlighted in yellow from the background of what you're tracing. So if you have an image, let's say that you found a graphic online and you only wanted a butterfly out of this pretty graphic, then you can trace that butterfly and detach it and then use that for something else. Trace outer edge is only going to get you the outer portions of this edge. So think of this, if you want a silhouette of something, you have a picture of your child, you want the silhouette of their face or their head from a profile, then that's what you would use, trace outer edge. Trace is going to trace everything on this, the entire image, just as the tooltip shows you. So what I'm going to do is click trace and let it work. And when the trace is finished, you're going to move your images, the originals, off to the side, and you can see what's left behind. It's a little bit messy on this top one because it's grabbed all the lines, but this bottom one you can see is a little bit better to work with. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple of tricks here. Release compound path. Because I traced both of these images together, it compounded the image into one. And that's just, again, for demonstration purposes today, you have the ability to also release that compound path and separate them. So we'll just let it work because there's a lot of information there. And it's trying to process it, so that's why you see this screen with the little circle spinning. Okay, so now all of these boxes, you can see all of these boxes are now separate pieces. If I wanted to get rid of this top one, I'm just going to drag my mouse over it to select it, making sure not to grab anything below it in that bottom image. And then just simply press delete on your keyboard. And now here comes the painstaking part of going through and cleaning up this trace to remove all of these little pieces down here. Now you can drag your mouse and press delete. If you want to zoom in, you can use these tools up here, or hold Alt on your keyboard and push the scroll wheel on your mouse away from you to scroll in. Okay? Now as you see, this trace kind of looks really bad, but it gives you the ability to go in and start cleaning these up. Now, when I look at these lines here, I know that I'm going to have to do some additional work for this, and that's where you have to kind of get familiar with this left toolbar and what you have available. The knife tool will allow you to slice things apart from a trace. That is a whole other subject. But now that you have your trace, you have the ability to work with that and, like I said, clean it up. You can fill it with color. We'll just do a portion of this so you can see. And when I make it a compound path again, it will actually look like letters. So there's the handwriting that's been traced. So this should give you a better understanding of tracing, what to do when you don't have that full yellow coverage, what types of graphics to use or images are better to use than others. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them below. I hope this was very helpful for you guys. Have a great day.